Alright guys, we need to have a serious, real talk conversation about something massive happening in the fighting game community right now. It is officially time for a lot of us, not saying all of you guys, but a lot of us to raise our hands, step up to the mic and say the words out loud. We owe Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls a massive apology. You know, when Sony and Arc System Works first revealed this game, the internet completely tore it apart. You know, handles like Twitter, Reddit, and comment sections everywhere were flooded with massive doom posting. You know, people were writing off the roster, they were hating on the anime visual direction, and declaring the game dead on arrival before anyone even touched a controller. Now fast forward to today, and the vibe has completely flipped. You know, lobbies are packed, lab monsters are cooking tag synergies, and players are admitting that this is easily one of the most addicting, hype-inducing fighting games we've had in years. Now look, okay, was every single piece of early concern completely invalid? No. Absolutely not. The PC port launch on Steam was a total disaster, with CPU usage hitting 100%, shader shudders, and performance issues that Arc System Works had to scramble to patch. But when you look at the core game itself, the FGC and the casual community got this one dead wrong. Today we're breaking down all of the pre-release complaints. You know, we're sorting out what was valid versus what was total lies, and looking at how Marvel Tokon completely turned the tables and proved everybody wrong. But if you guys don't know me by now, I'm MrFrostyFlamez, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming, news, reviews, playthroughs, etc. and we do it in a chill way. So if you enjoy that style of content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the MrFrostyFlamez Legion. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So to understand where all this Marvel Tokon initial hate started, we gotta go back to the initial reveal trailers and when they dropped, because the knee-jerk reaction from the community was brutal, and the hate mainly centered around, you know, two major pillars I could find. You know, the 4v4 format and the art style. And starting with the 4v4 format, people were highly skeptical. They were saying things like, okay, 4 characters is way too chaotic, matches are going to be a giant mess of just visual clutter where you can't even see your character on the screen, and then you're gonna have those touch of death combos and endless assists that are just going to ruin the competitive integrity. People were terrified that managing 4 health bars, 4 assist meters, and active tags would make this game unplayable for casuals, and an unreadable chaotic nightmare for competitive tournament play. And then you had the people that were criticizing the art and character models and the visual critiques. You know, people are saying, you know, why doesn't it look identical to Dragon Ball FighterZ or maybe Guilty Gear Strive? People were also saying maybe the comic book cell shading looks weird on certain character models and the UI sort of looks like a mobile game. And this is because Arc System Works set an impossibly high bar with Guilty Gear Strive. Any stylistic pivot for Marvel was met by immediate harsh pushback. You know, people were pausing YouTube trailers at 0.5 speed, taking blurry screenshots, and judging character models in a vacuum. I mean, this is what people were doing back then. I mean, the game hasn't even came out yet. And now we're just gonna talk about what was valid and what was invalid from the previous hate. Because now that the community has put hundreds of collective hours into the game, let's dissect what was actually a fair concern and what was just like a classic internet doom posting hate, you know, hate train, whatever you want to call it. And this is what was invalid: the 4v4 system and the art style. Let's start with the 4v4 format. It isn't a chaotic broken mess. It's literally one of the smartest design choices Arc Systems has ever made. You know, instead of throwing all 8 characters on screen at once to cause like a sensory overload from, you know, Marvel Rivals or something when everyone ults at the same time, the game uses a dynamic pacing curve. You actually start matches in a tighter 1v1 state with a basic assist option like your shooter option. And as you trigger wall breaks and build meter or lose rounds, you gradually unlock your 4-man squad. It gives the match room to breathe and build tension, you know, as it goes on before escalating into a full-scale comic book war. It balances low skill floors for button mashers and an insanely high skill ceiling for lab monsters. In essence, basically what I'm saying is the people that were complaining that there's going to be massive visual clutter, I mean, there is visual clutter, but as you play the game you'll get used to it. And people are saying, oh, this is going to be bad for casuals, only competitive players are going to play it. No, this this game is both great for casuals and competitive players, which is hard for a fighting game to initially do. And in motion, the art style is magnificent. The dynamic camera zoom-ins during tag-ins, the screen-shattering cinematic supers, and the stylized hit effects give it an identity that feels like a living, breathing comic book panel brought to life in a fighting game. It's awesome, and this is what was valid. Now, to keep it 100% real with you guys, I just want to say, the PC launch backlash was completely justified. Leading up to this game, people were already skeptical about the PC port because you gotta sign in to Sony and PlayStation and all that bullshit, and doing all that stuff, and plus the beta wasn't even running well on PC regardless. So when Marvel Tokon officially dropped on Steam, the port had major issues. We're talking about crazy high single core CPU utilization, maxing out processors for no reason, random frame rate drops during audio checks, and anti-cheat conflicts that made crossplay matches lag or stutter so badly, and this caused Steam reviews to drop into mixed territory because players couldn't get a smooth 60 frames per second, even on high-end rigs. Fortunately, I, didn't have any of that problem, but I am in that like 10% that didn't have problems. But to give where credit is due, Arc System Works didn't ignore it. They're trying to fix the issues. They acknowledged them on day one. They pushed out, emergency hotfixes. But, PC optimization still has a lot of room to grow. It isn't 100% fixed yet. And when you take all of this that I said and you step back and look at the overall picture right now, Marvel Tokon is having an absolute moment in the gaming space. The core combat loop is ridiculously addicting, the freedom to mix and match assist traits across different Marvel heroes, whether you're running, Captain America, Doctor Doom, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Magic, whoever, it creates practically endless team composition creativity. And hopefully when the netcode on console and PC gets patched, it feels buttery smooth. And anyways, I love the game and I love the hub spaces. They're alive with players running sets, and even character details like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall mid combo just shows how much love went into this project. It completely flipped the narrative from, okay, this game is dead on arrival, to I can't stop labbing set of combos until 3 a.m. And you know what I think? I think that there's like a broader lesson that we have to really understand, because we gotta stop writing games off based off of 30-second teaser trailers. I understand that as gamers we got our backstabbed so many times that it's just natural for us to feel this way. However, we've seen it happen with games like Street Fighter 6's initial reveal, we've seen it with Tekken 8's heat system complaints, and now we've seen it again with Marvel Tokon. Modern game development is complex, and fighting games especially cannot be properly judged until you feel the controller in your hands, test the input response, and understand how the mechanics interact at speed. We've seen it with games like Mortal Kombat 1. People thought this game was going to be awesome because it looked cool in the trailers, but when you actually played Mortal Kombat 1, yeah, it felt better than Mortal Kombat 11. However, people just said it didn't hit the same, and look where it's at now. People started to hate on it. It died. But at the end of the day, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is a prime example of why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Pre-release hate almost stifled the hype before launch, but the actual gameplay delivered a masterclass in my opinion. So yeah, the FGC and the internet owe this game a genuine apology. But I want to hand over the mic to you guys. Where did you stand on Marvel Tokon before it launched? Were you one of the doubters, or did you know that this developer was cooking from day one? And also drop your 4-man squad down below. I want to hear what team you're running. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to join the MrFrostyFlamez Legion. I appreciate all the love and support as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. MrFrostyFlamez out. Ciao.